All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Homebrew, brought to you by our company called Nuhom. Elfchal and I are the co-founders of this company. We're a real estate tech startup based in the Boston area, and we're focused on improving the home buying process. We bring convenience, transparency, and more affordability to the home buying process. And we do so by streamlining a number of things, but also by digitizing a lot of the process.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about on-demand and what it means in real estate. So just to step back a bit, what is on-demand? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. On-demand is I am making an indication of some sort and saying I need something, whether it's a cab or if it's a laptop or if it's, I'm a consumer and I need something, and I'm hoping that a service provider out there provides it to me in a way such that it meets my needs, but also I get it right after I've requested it.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, it's Uber, right? It's ordering food, Grubhub,
yeah,
and it's at your fingertips, and you get what you ask for in a very timely manner.
That's right. Timely manner is probably better put. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So what does that mean for real estate, right? So real estate is kind of offline, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is offline majority, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very manual. It could take a very long time, right? The paperwork is, it's just not user friendly. It's confusing. So there's a lot of not Uber-like stuff happening in real estate. So can real estate be on demand?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it absolutely can be.
Yep.
And if you think about what happens today, it's like, usually home buyers are maybe shopping around looking for a home. Maybe they're just casually looking at Zillow and other sites because that's like the thing to do these days, especially during COVID. But sometimes it takes getting the right property to land on the market at the right time where all the stars align. And you're like, yeah, that's the one. And that's the one I want to buy. And I want to go for it. And so sometimes you're not even working with an agent at that point. Other times it's like you have a certain life stage event that happens and it kind of sneaks up on you and you're like, wow, I need more space, or I need to change space, or I need to move. Maybe I got a job. Maybe something in my family is changing. And so, then as well, you could have an agent perhaps at that point that you've been talking to, but they may not always be as ready as you are, and you may not always be as ready as they are at times. And so, I think it's an interesting model today when you hire an agent to represent you in buying some real estate. It's like they're going on this ride with you, and it's all dependent on your, interest levels, your, readiness, and what home comes on the market. And so it's like, a lot of people kind of bash on real estate agents for one reason or another, but it's a tough, thing to have that combination of things line up and for you to actually be on demand or be 24/7, which is what real estate really is, if you break it down for every client that they work with. And so, I think on demand in real estate is totally possible as we get to that, but I think it's tough the way it is set up today.
Absolutely. So you kind of have a word for these like moments that happen by chance, right? What do you say?
I say they're serendipitous.
Yeah, so it can happen in light speed mode, or it can happen, over time. And I think ultimately, whatever activity that needs to happen, it just needs to happen in a very timely manner and an efficient way.
Yeah. I mean, just very simple scenario, right? And this happens every week. We have clients come to us, and it could be any day of the week. It could be a Thursday. People often put their homes on the market on a Wednesday or Thursday for the, upcoming following weekend.
Yep.
And you could see this home on a Thursday, and, by Thursday night, you could have gone to tour it. By Friday morning, you're making an offer. So you need pricing information. You need the ability to make an offer, how to stand out. By Friday afternoon, someone's negotiating for you. by Saturday morning, you could have an accepted offer. And then there's the next set of things that happen. And it's like, when you see a home, time sometimes, like once you see it and you recognize that's the one you want, time flies to the next few steps because you don't want to miss out.
Yep.
So I think what we've talked a little bit about is like kind of what happens today in real estate, kind of how people work with an agent, and a little bit of that process. The thing is, like, the last thing I'll mention on that topic is like every agent is different, and they have a choice in whether they want to work with you or not. They wake up, they have a life, they have a business they effectively run. And most agents are doing everything from marketing their services to nurturing clients to being in the business and doing tours, doing offers, trying to, like, you know, get things accepted and move ahead. So they're looking out for their best interests as far as, you know, making money for their little business, sometimes big. And then they're also trying to meet the demands of their clients as and when they come in. And it's a tough thing to balance. Number one, because of, you know, the way things can shift sometimes in the life of the buyer, in the life of the market, and in the life of you, the agent. But then lastly, not every agent is created equal. And I don't just mean that from the perspective of like experience. I mean it from the perspective of we are all different as humans. There is something that I've learned about quite a bit from our brokerage known as the DISC assessment. And the DISC assessment, if I look at like my little cheat sheet,
DISC.
DICS is no, you had it right. SC. So dominant, influential, steady, and compliant, right?
Yeah.
And so every human being is better at some of those things and worse at others. Usually people, you're either like, when you do these DISC assessments, you're like really good at one thing, and then there's a secondary thing that you're, you know, good at but not great. And so they represent how people act in different environments effectively. And so if you think about it, a real estate agent, they do everything from, you know, marketing, which could be considered like a steady function in the S of the DISC, something that's supportive, sincere, sensitive. Whereas they could also be negotiating a deal for you, which is maybe I for influential or D for dominant. But then when they're doing home diligence, they're doing, you know, compliance for C. So the thing is, every person has a different DISC assessment, and that means every agent has a different DISC assessment. And so effectively, it's really hard to manage all of the needs the way a person should, you know, in each of those compartments of DISC, as they relate to different functions of what an agent should provide you as a standard of good service.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really interesting. And so I think when we get to talking about how we think of on demand, it'll be really interesting to talk about how we've broken those down a bit.
Yeah. So just to summarize what you were saying is, you know, not every person is good at everything.
Right.
Right. So when you need, as a buyer, you need certain, you know, let's say pricing analysis to negotiating, those could be two different, you know, requests.
Yep.
And that person at the end, your agent, may not be good at all those things. Right. So relying on a company that, you know, specializes on those specific things, could be much better and beneficial for the home buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think what the real estate industry lacks right now, and teams are trying to do this a bit, different real estate teams as they call them, but I still think a lot of them fall short of it, is like creating a truly specialized model where you could have functions improve over time, everything from the process of giving a tour, what to expect to get during that tour,
right,
and what to get after the tour, to home diligence. What are the things you look for from a desktop? What are the things you look for at the property to uncover to make sure that your buyer is informed? To pricing analysis. That's a very financial analysis type of driven function, and that might need someone that's, you know, more of a compliant type of person. So you can almost align people and their traits, the different functions, different agents being good at some things versus others or better, and what a client ultimately needs. And
also that need is, you're getting very consistent deliverables. You're getting very consistent standardized information.
Right.
Every time that you request it.
Yeah. So just like you drive through McDonald's, you get the same burger.
Right.
You should get...
It's quality controlled.
Exactly. So you should get the same approach on a pricing analysis for a condo in the city every single time. Because it takes into account all the number of variables you want to consider when you're trying to price a home.
Sure.
So when you don't get that kind of standardization, specialization, and this is why we believe in on-demand, it leads the buyer to a position where they don't always know what to expect. And they don't know if they're going to get it in a timely manner, ultimately. And as we've said before, home buying is serendipitous. So, we want to provide, as a company, service in an on-demand focused way, and do that at every step of home buying.
Right. So, as a home buyer, where do I go to get the standard?
Yeah, that was bad timing. So Nuhom is literally doing just that. So what we've done is we've broken down the home buying process into steps.
Right.
I like to call them bits, but really try to break down every single thing that we think a home buyer needs along the process. And we've been recording every hour we spend with every client over the last year or so or more, really monitoring where we spend our time and where that time is valuable for clients as well.
Right.
So we break down each function, and then we put people that are really good at those functions based on their disc in those functions. And I think you have a team that works together to service a client. We have a home advisor that is the lead agent. That's your QB, your quarterback, the person you go to for everything, any problems. But effectively, you can request everything else you need. So it's self-action but guided, and I think that's what home buyers need and want today.
Oh, it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what's not available today in real estate and making it more accessible.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, all the other things about an agent not taking on a client for one reason or another. Yes, we do have some set standards about who we work with, but they're really around. If you have a pre-approval, that's all we really need to work with you. We're not, we don't discriminate around, where you're buying, what kind of price you're buying. As long as we have coverage in that area, we're happy to help you. We don't have any minimums around, you should be buying $1 million house or something like that.
No contracts, no obligations.
Yeah. And then to add to that, none of that. We understand that, again, home buyers have, decisions to make along the way. Things change, their jobs change, their family situation change, and you're ultimately making the biggest purchase of your life. So you want to do that when the time is right for you. And so who are we to kind of give you a tough time about that? It's the last thing you want to be hearing is your agent yelling at you or telling you, stop wasting my time. And that's why we've kind of modeled it the way we have is we're ready when you are, and you simply let us know. We've broken down every function that a home buyer needs to have access to. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to really everything from the beginning to the end.
Right.
You can request listings based on the criteria of what you're looking for. You can even put in an address and get the full listing that you don't see on Zillow or Redfin in your inbox. You can request a tour. We can also get you pre-approved within a couple of hours through our preferred lender that's connected to our site. We can provide you a pricing analysis whenever you need one, even if you haven't gone to the home just yet and you're trying to get a feel about how much this home might actually be worth versus what it's asking for. And And you can even make an offer right on our website 24/7. And so really it just turns everything around and gives you access when you need it. You don't need to call an agent if you don't want to. You can certainly pick up your phone if you do call,
right.
Or text or email. But like it basically, we've talked about e-commerce a lot. This is, on demand as well. In that same vein, is providing every home buyer an ability to take an action when they're ready. And we can't stress enough how important we think that is about giving people that ability and not sort of do what the traditional agents do of like sort of calling, badgering, constantly asking, are you ready? If you're going to buy a home, no one's going to like force you in it. It's going to be you making that decision anyways.
Right.
So do so when the time's right. And you can do so right on our site. And so that's, I think a lot, there's a couple things in there, but I think ultimately we're trying to turn this around so that home buyers have an ability to do what they need to do when they're ready.